What happens when artificial intelligence falls into the wrong hands? At Gladstone Park Secondary College in Melbourne, up to 60 female students became victims of a horrifying digital violation. Their school formal photos stolen and manipulated using AI to create sexually explicit images, then circulated online for all to see. This isn't science fiction. It's happening right now in our schools. And the most terrifying part, this technology is accessible to anyone, including children. In June 2024, Victoria Police were alerted to a disturbing situation at Gladstone Park Secondary College in Melbourne's northwest. Detective Sergeant Simon Garner from the Faulkner Sexual Offences and Child Abuse Investigation Team described the scenario that unfolded. Formal photos of female students had been inappropriately manipulated using artificial intelligence technology to create sexually explicit images. These deepfakes were then shared across multiple platforms and group chats, violating the privacy and dignity of dozens of young women. The manipulation of these images wasn't technically complex. It required no special skills, just access to increasingly accessible AI tools. According to police, the perpetrators used school formal photos as source material, manipulating them using so-called nudify apps that can generate fake nude images in seconds with just a few clicks. In a letter to parents, Principal Veronica Hoy stated that Year 11 students had been sharing these nude images through social media and group chats. This kind of misogynistic and disrespectful behavior is entirely unacceptable at our schools, she wrote, emphasizing that the sending of real or fake nude images of people under the age of 18 is a crime. 2 Year 11 students were immediately suspended, but investigators believe more students could be involved. According to police reports, as many as 60 female students may have had their images stolen and manipulated. Real children, real victims, with real trauma resulting from this digital violation. A 16-year-old boy was later arrested in connection with the incident. The E-Safety Commissioner, Julie Inman Grant, confirmed awareness of the incident and reached out to offer support. In the 2023-24 period alone, the Commission received over 7,270 reports about image-based abuse and successfully removed such content from 98% of the 947 locations across 191 platforms where it was found, a statistic that hints at the widespread nature of this problem. This isn't an isolated incident. Just weeks earlier, a student at Salesian College in Melbourne Southeast was expelled for creating sexually explicit deepfake images of a female teacher. Principal Mark Ashmore stated, "We have ensured support and pastoral care is provided to the teacher. We continue to stand behind her and support in all ways possible." And at Bacchus Marsh Grammar, approximately 50 female students had their social media photos transformed into sexually explicit images by AI technology. According to Principal Andrew Neal, these victims were girls in grades 9 to 12 with an age range between 14 and 18 years old. One mother, identified only as Emily, described the images as mutilated and incredibly graphic, saying her 16-year-old daughter was physically sick after viewing them. She was very upset and she was throwing up, the mother told ABC Radio. "I mean, they are children. The photos were mutilated and so graphic. I almost threw up when I saw it." The Independent Education Union revealed they provided support for several teachers who were made victims of AI-generated fake pornography by students in their school, calling these devastating events for the staff involved and their families. These incidents expose a disturbing pattern forming across Australian schools. A report from the Australian Institute of Criminology found that 1 in 3 Australian adults has experienced some form of image-based sexual abuse, with women and girls disproportionately targeted. More alarming, the technology to create these images is becoming increasingly sophisticated and accessible. This isn't just an Australian issue. In November 2023, 14-year-old Francesca Manni led public demands for a federal crackdown in the U.S. after she and dozens of her classmates at Westfield High School in New Jersey had their images manipulated into explicit content. High-profile victims have included Taylor Swift and Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who introduced federal legislation, the Defiance Act, to give victims legal power to sue creators of non-consensual deepfakes. What connects these cases is not just the technology, but a pattern of misogyny. This follows multiple cases where male students have allegedly used misogynistic and derogatory language about female peers, including a spreadsheet to rank students from wifey to unrapeable, as happened at Yarra Valley Grammar, where 4 male students were suspended over such a list in May 2024. But what's truly behind this surge in AI-generated abuse? Is it merely teenage misbehavior amplified by technology? Or does it point to something more sinister in our society? Research clearly shows sexual abuse and harassment is a gendered issue. Women, girls, and gender-diverse individuals are disproportionately affected, with men and boys overwhelmingly more likely to be the perpetrators. The Australian Child Maltreatment Study found that adolescents make up a substantial proportion of perpetrators of child sexual abuse and sexual harassment. More than 18% of participants aged 16 to 24 reported being sexually abused by an adolescent during their childhood. For gender-diverse participants, this number jumps to 24%. Experts point to the ease of access to pornography and AI technology as factors making this problem worse. A 2024 Australian study revealed more than 52% of men and 32% of women had reported viewing pornography by age 14. Viewing pornography is associated with the sexual objectification of women, and intentionally viewing violent material significantly increases the likelihood of sexually aggressive behavior. The Stanford Internet Observatory uncovered something even more disturbing. Some AI models are using databases of existing child sexual abuse material to generate new images. This means real children are being exploited to create sexually explicit images of more children. What if the real issue isn't just about technology, but about a cultural problem with gender-based violence in Australia? What if these incidents are symptoms of a deeper societal illness, one where misogyny and disrespect are normalized and technology simply provides new tools for expression? The legal consequences for creating and sharing these images are severe. In August 2023, federal laws were passed making the sharing of digitally altered deepfake pornographic images punishable by up to 6 years in jail, or 7 years for those who created them. Detective Sergeant Garner emphasized the seriousness of these offenses. We're talking about images of production, possession, and distributing of child exploitation material. We take it very seriously. Even though these images are AI-generated images, they're considered child abuse material under Australian law. But legal punishments alone won't solve this crisis. According to Asher Flynn, an associate professor of criminology at Monash University, deepfake pornographic images normalize the sexualization of women and children without consent. She argues that current laws don't go far enough. I do feel like the laws could have gone farther to also think about how we can place more onus on the people who are creating these types of tools for people to use, Flynn stated. What we do need to see is much more recognition and onus on tech providers, the tech developers, and also the social media platforms and websites. The eSafety Commissioner, Julie Inman Grant, recently announced new industry standards to tackle harmful online content, including deepfake and nudify apps that use AI to generate explicit material depicting a child under 18. These standards aim to hold tech companies accountable, requiring them to take stronger steps to prevent misuse of their platforms. But the question remains, are these measures enough to stem the tide of AI-generated abuse? Or are we merely treating symptoms while ignoring the disease? Experts argue that we need a primary prevention approach, stopping this behavior before it starts by changing cultural norms around violence and gender. Parents and schools are at the front line of this battle. For parents, creating open lines of communication is crucial. Starting conversations early about bodily autonomy and boundaries, making these discussions regular, and knowing when to seek further support can make all the difference. How can we assure them that once measures are in place, it won't happen again? Schools also bear significant responsibility. Research shows that school programs aimed at addressing sexual violence and cultural norms around gender can be effective. This includes comprehensive training for staff, sex education that covers healthy relationships and consent, and strong leadership that takes a zero-tolerance approach to degrading comments, violence, and misogyny. Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen calls the incidents appalling, saying girls and women deserve to feel safe and respected in the classroom, in any community across our state. She emphasized that such behavior breaches that trust, breaches that respect, and it holds not just women and girls back, but it holds boys and men back too. The Department of Education has launched updated Respectful Relationships material to help students navigate misogyny and hate online, embed equality into every school, and model respectful behavior. But is it enough? Can educational programs alone counteract the tsunami of toxic content available to young people at the click of a button? We've all got to chip in to try to make sure that young boys understand what it means to grow up to be a man and live by the standards that society expects. Behind the headlines and statistics are real victims with real trauma. Noelle Martin knows this pain firsthand. When she was 18, she discovered her photos had been stolen and photoshopped into pornographic images. Your stomach sinks. You're shocked. You're speechless because you don't know why or what's happening, she recalled. You're seeing yourself violated in such horrific ways. It's dehumanizing, it's objectifying, and horrific to see yourself in such a way. Martin emphasized the lifelong consequences this type of material can have, particularly given how realistic AI-generated images can now appear. This has the capacity to affect every aspect of your life, from your employability to your future earning capacity, from your reputation to your emotional and mental and physical health, she said. It's reached a point where I'm like, I want to change my name and travel overseas and forget this ever happened. You can't escape it. It always follows you. For the students at Gladstone Park Secondary College, Salesian College, and Bacchus Marsh Grammar, the trauma is just beginning. These young women now face the terrifying reality that images appearing to be them in compromising situations are circulating online, potentially forever. As Detective Sergeant Garner put it, first and foremost, I want to make sure that the girls and the students that are involved in this are being taken care of. We want to make sure they're supported, their families are supported, and all the referral services have been put in place to help support them through this very difficult time. As AI technology continues to advance at breakneck speed, we face a critical crossroads. Will we allow these tools to become weapons of harassment and abuse? Or will we demand accountability from tech companies, from our schools, from our governments, and from ourselves? What do you think needs to be done to protect people from AI deepfake abuse? Should we focus on tougher laws, better education, or holding tech companies accountable? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're concerned about this issue and want to stay informed about the evolving landscape of AI ethics and safety, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. And if you or someone you know has been a victim of image-based abuse, remember you're not alone. Contact the eSafety Commissioner or support services listed in the description. This is a problem that affects us all, and solving it will take all of us. The future of AI is being written right now. The question is, who's holding the pen?